There is a flower that ancient Egyptians believed could let the living speak with their dreams. And modern science is only now beginning to understand why they were right. Tonight, roughly 3 billion people on this planet will close their eyes, and most of them will forget everything that happens next. We spend 1/3 of our entire lives asleep. Think about that. If you live to be 90, 30 full years will be spent in a state you barely remember. 30 years of stories your mind wrote, performed, and then erased before morning coffee. We've built apps to track our sleep. We've engineered mattresses. We've optimized our bedtime routines down to the minute. But almost nobody asks the deeper question: what is actually happening when you dream? And why did one of the most advanced civilizations in human history believe that a single blue flower held the key to finding out? The Blue Lotus, Nymphea caerulea. You'll find it everywhere in ancient Egypt. And I mean everywhere. Carved into the walls of the Temple of Karnak, painted in the tombs of pharaohs, placed on the chest of Tutankhamun's mummified body, held in the hands of Osiris, the god of the afterlife himself. This wasn't decoration. This was devotion. The Egyptians didn't see this flower the way we see a rose or a daisy. To them, the Blue Lotus was a bridge, a sacred threshold between the waking world and something deeper, something underneath consciousness. And here's what makes this extraordinary. Every single morning, the Blue Lotus rises from dark, muddy water and opens its petals to the sun. Every single evening, it closes and sinks back beneath the surface. The ancient Egyptians watched this, day after day, century after century, and they saw themselves. A flower that wakes with the light, sleeps with the darkness, emerges from the depths, and returns to them. They believed this plant didn't just symbolize the cycle of consciousness. They believed it could alter it. Now, let's cross the bridge from ancient belief into modern understanding, because this is where it gets fascinating. The Blue Lotus contains 2 primary psychoactive compounds, apomorphine and luciferine. Apomorphine is a dopamine agonist. In simple terms, it activates the same receptors in your brain that are responsible for feelings of pleasure, calm, and euphoria. It's the chemistry of gentle bliss, not the sharp spike of caffeine or the crash of sugar. Something smoother, warmer, like sunlight moving slowly across a room. Luciferine works differently. It acts as a mild sedative and has been shown to promote a state of deep relaxation, the kind where your body feels heavy but your mind feels strangely clear, strangely open. And this is the combination that researchers find so intriguing, because that state, relaxed body, open mind, is precisely the neurological doorway to something psychologists have studied for over a century: lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is a dream in which you know you are dreaming. You become conscious inside your own unconscious. You can observe. Sometimes you can choose. You can walk through doors that don't exist in waking life and ask questions that your rational mind would never allow. It's not fantasy. It's not pseudoscience. Harvard, Stanford, the Max Planck Institute, they've all verified it. Lucid dreaming is a measurable, repeatable neurological state. During REM sleep, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-awareness and decision-making, suddenly reactivates. You wake up inside the dream. And the ancient Egyptians, without brain scans, without EEGs, without a single piece of modern technology, appear to have found a botanical shortcut to this state 4,000 years ago with a flower. But let's step even deeper, because the Blue Lotus is really just an invitation into a much larger question. Why do we dream at all? Sigmund Freud called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. He believed that every dream, no matter how bizarre, was your mind trying to tell you something it couldn't say while you were awake. A truth wearing a costume. Carl Jung went further. He believed dreams weren't just personal, they were archetypal. That when you dream of water, you're touching something universal. When you dream of descending into darkness, you're enacting a journey that every human being across every culture has taken since the beginning of time. The descent, the underworld, the return. Sound familiar? A flower that sinks into dark water each night and rises, transformed each morning. Jung would have loved the Blue Lotus. Modern psychology has added new layers to this understanding. We now know that during REM sleep, your brain does something remarkable. It disconnects the logical, censoring part of your mind and lets the emotional, associative networks run free. This is why dreams feel so strange. Your brain isn't broken during a dream. It's actually more creative. It's making connections your waking mind would reject. It's solving problems laterally. It's processing grief, fear, desire, and memory in ways that your conscious mind is too guarded, too defended to allow. There's a famous study from the University of California where participants were given a complex problem to solve. Some were allowed to sleep. Some were not. The ones who entered REM sleep were 33% more likely to find a solution. They didn't think their way to the answer. They dreamed it. And this reveals something profound about the human mind. We're not only conscious beings who sometimes sleep. We are dreaming beings who sometimes wake up. So where does this leave us? Not in ancient Egypt, not in a laboratory, right here, in your life, tonight. Because here's what modern living has stolen from us, and we barely noticed it go. We have shortened our sleep. We have flooded our evenings with blue light from screens, and I find that ironic. We chase a synthetic blue glow while ignoring the one the ancients held sacred. We suppress our dreams with alcohol. We fragment our REM cycles with caffeine consumed too late in the day. We wake to alarms that rip us out of the deepest stages of sleep, the exact stages where dreams carry their most potent medicine. And then we wonder why we feel disconnected, why we feel anxious without knowing why we can sense that something is missing, but we can't name it. What if part of what's missing is your dream life? What if the nightly journey, the one you've been ignoring, skipping, forgetting, is not a passive biological process, but an active psychological necessity? The Blue Lotus didn't just teach the Egyptians about dreaming. It taught them about respect for the unseen. It taught them that consciousness is not a light switch, on or off, awake or asleep. It is a spectrum, a river with depths. And some of the most important things, the insights, the healing, the creative breakthroughs, the emotional truths, live not on the surface, but underneath it. You don't need a blue lotus flower to begin, though its history deserves our wonder. You can start tonight, simply by deciding that your dream life matters. Keep a journal by your bed. When you wake, don't reach for your phone. Lie still. Let the images linger. Write down whatever fragments remain, even if they make no sense, especially if they make no sense. Over time, you will begin to remember more. The door opens slowly, but it does open, because your dreaming mind has been waiting for you. It has been telling stories every single night, writing letters you never read, painting paintings you never saw, whispering truths you never heard. All because you stood up too fast and walked away from the water before the lotus opened. The ancient Egyptians carved a blue flower onto the walls of eternity. Not because it was beautiful, though it was. Not because it was rare, though it was. But because it did something that no army, no empire, no monument could do. It crossed the border between worlds. Every night, it sank into darkness. And every morning, it returned, carrying something invisible with it. Something you could feel but never hold. Something that changed you, even if you couldn't explain how. You're not so different from this flower. Every night, you descend into the dark water of your own mind, into the place where memory and meaning dissolve into symbol and sensation, where the person you are meets the person you're becoming. And every morning, if you're willing to be still, to listen, to remember, you can rise from that water, carrying something sacred. The Egyptians knew it. The dreamers know it. And now, so do you. If this video made you pause, even for a moment, and think differently about your dreams, about sleep, about the ancient wisdom hiding in a single flower, then you belong here. The plant mind explores the invisible connections between nature, psychology, and what it means to be human. Subscribe if you'd like to keep going deeper. And tonight, when you close your eyes, pay attention. Something might be blooming.